It's a beautiful evening. Welcome to Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. Tonight, we'll celebrate the epitome of football greatness, the Ballon d'Or. Since its inception in 1956, this prestigious award has transcended from just being a Met trophy to becoming the ultimate mark of excellence in the world of football. It has honored players who have shown remarkable skill, resilience, and dedication. And so, this edition of the show today, we'll dive into the illustrious history of the Ballon d'Or. We'll take a look at what transpired yesterday and also reaction that plays out. Not forgetting Real Madrid's boos on their choices of optionals from the ceremony, and also the reason they are three for that omission, and more reaction from the South American continent, Brazil precisely, where a lot of person thinks that that was not in favor of their own citizen, that's Vinicius Junior. Also this evening, the senior women football team of Nigeria, Super Falcons, have just gotten a win against the Foxes of Algeria, and of course we'll bring you more of that particular one, as it looks like Manchester United are also in a contract clause on signing Sporting Lisbon coach. All this will play out, if the time permits, this evening on this special edition of Sports Extraordinary. My name is Ekpo Temple. We're going to short break now. When we come back, we'll take you through everything football and more football on the show today.
The people of Maiduguri need your help. A catastrophic flood has engulfed the city, leaving over 1 million residents stranded and fighting for survival. Entire communities are submerged, with people trapped inside homes and on rooftops cut off from food, clean drinking water, and essential supplies. Health experts are warning of a potential outbreak of deadly diseases, and medical facilities are out of commission. The situation is dire. Helicopters, boats, and high-riding trucks capable of navigating the treacherous, waterlogged areas are urgently required to reach the countless men, women, and children still awaiting rescue. The Nigerian media is issuing a desperate plea to the government, humanitarian organizations, international actors, and citizens across the nation. Step in now, before it's too late. For more information on how you can help, contact Professor Usman A. Tar, the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Internal Security, Borno State, on 0809-233-3955. Every second counts.
This is powered by Atlantic Television Network.
right, welcome back from that break. If you're just joining us, it is another beautiful edition of Sports Extraordinary here on Atlantic Television Network. And This evening, I have Emmanuel Michael here. So, Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Temple. I'm leaving to our viewers out there.
All right, I did mention earlier that we'll take a look at what transpired yesterday at the another edition of the Ballon d'Or, clearly, and then we'll also take a dive into the reaction that raised the emergence of Rodri. You know, not also forgetting that there are a lot from Old Trafford. Reaction also continues to trail the sack of Erik ten Hag and the the proposed appointment or the planned appointment of Sporting Lisbon coach. What is the club saying? What is the contract saying? Will he become the new coach of Manchester United? All these we shall take a look at today. But first off, let's start with some tennis news this afternoon, as world number one Yannick Sinner has withdrawn from the Paris Masters due to an intestinal, quote unquote, virus. According to tournament organizers, report had it that Italian, who secured his top ranking in mid-October, shared the news on his X platform this afternoon, and he expressed disappointment at missing the ATP 1000 event in the French capital. The organizers stated that he contracted the virus before arriving in Paris, replacing him in the draw now is Frenchman Arthur Cazor, who stepped up from the qualifying rounds, and he will face either French fellowman Corentin Moutet or American Ben Shelton in a second round opener later this evening. So let's see how far this panned out. But the Paris Masters was intended to be his final preparation before the ATP final in Turin, set for November 10th to 17th. He will compete alongside the season's top 8 players according to the world rankings, and he's also expected to participate in the Davis Cup final in Malaga, Spain, with Italy entering as the defending champion. And of course, he has been he's had a wonderful season. Talking about Sinner now, and not doing so badly at all. He's won 2 Grand Slam titles this season, the Australian Open and the US Open, and 7 titles in total, including 3 Masters, 1,000 victories in Miami, Cincinnati, and Shanghai. And he has also faced a pending doping case following a recent appeal by the World Anti-Doping Agency, adding tension to his remarkable career. I mean, a lot can go on and on and on and read out some of these start backing his achievement this season. But one thing that stands tall is the man is not happy that he will not be part of the French Masters that is on already. And if he hope of winning that particular one would have been lovely. Whether he wins it or not, it would have added to his colors preparations for the ATP final. But he won't be part of it. Mike, I don't know if you have any thought on this particular one. Missing out on this on the French Masters.
I think for me it's not a good one for Yannick Sinner, because this would have served as a preparatory ground for him ahead of the last Grand Slam of the year, the 1000 event out there. This one would have been more like a perfect match for him to use, and also tease up himself, to prepare for the last season ending, which would have been a great opportunity for Yannick Sinner. But then, despite the fact that he has been waiting for this very one, preparing heavily for this very one, but then, quite unfortunate, due to the intestinal issue, he wasn't able to take part in this very one. Of course, I actually followed him via his Twitter. When that news broke, I was like, man, this is not a good news for Yannick Sinner. And of course, the point that is involved, 1,000 points, it would have been a very massive one if he should take part in this very one, to amass or get to accrue that point. If he get to win it, he would have added to the point that he has, and that further give him, help him to solidify his stay on the world #1 out there. But then, I tell you, it's not a good news for Yannick Sinner. But then we just keep our fingers crossed, hoping that he bounces back in time for the last a Grand Slam of the season, so that at least he can finish the season on a very high note.
Finish the season on a very high note, and I can tell you that if he finishes the season as #1, that will be very remarkable for him this year. I mean, it's not the first time we've seen such, but it's more remarkable when you get to see how things play out. But let's move away from that now, and let's talk about the activities of football matters. And thus this afternoon, the news, this evening, we saw clearly a lot of activities in the Nigerian Basketball League in the Savannah Conference. Result already popping out. Bauchi Nets are not doing badly at all. 64 against 100 to Plateau Peacock. They won that particular one in fantastic fashion. We saw Nile University had 77 against Gombe Bulls, 75 in the Savannah Conference of the Nigerian Basketball League, the male category. And then Kano Pillars had it not good at all, because Boko City Chiefs did the magic against them, 77 against 56. So more of the result coming out from that particular side. And then, of course, in football this afternoon, we saw the Super Falcons of Nigeria did so well against the Algerian side, funny thrashing there, in that encounter. And it looks like they continue the build-up to what is to come. And the two encounter, we saw how good they've been. Super Falcons showing class against Algerian, Mike.
Yes, of course. When you talk about African football, especially women football, Super Falcons are always a force to be reckoned with. The two-legged friendly games. We actually won the first friendly game 2-0 against the same side. This is the second friendly games, which they won 4-1. So in 2 games, they've scored a total of 6 goals, considered just a goal. And that is to tell you how impressive, how clinical they are in front of goals, and how dogged they are in defense as well. So for me, after their disappointing outing in the last Olympic game, it is right time for them to start building up momentum ahead of the African Championship. And I think for me, talking about Coach Madugu, he's been able to invite both locally based players and European based players as well to also help them blend. Also saw some names of the under-20 team as well that went for the under-20 World Cup a few months ago. I mean, it's just a blend of both home-based players and the under-20 team player, then the senior national team player. I think for me, Madugu is doing an experiment to see some of the young and fresh legs that are talented enough to help him also integrate some of these talented and young players into the main team, talking about the Super Falcon. And I think friendly games is just meant for one of those test runs, so that you can be able to see other players that are doing pretty well as well, so that you give them an opportunity as well to be part and parcel of the national team and make their claim as well when it has to do with the national team. So I think for me, it was a good friendly outing for the Super Falcons, and their quality is never in doubt, especially when it has to do with African football. They've conquered Africa time and time again. It's just that when they get to the world scene, the global scene, they tend not to live up to the expectation. This time around, I think the preparation is okay. It will help them to also keep themselves in shape ahead of the challenges ahead. I think for me, it was very impressive. The captain of the side, talking about Rashida Ajibade, very impressive captain indeed. She's showing her leadership quality on and off the pitch, which for me I think is very remarkable.
Very, very remarkable, I must tell you. And of course, we'll get to see how far they play as time progresses. But one thing very striking is that they've been able to gather momentum, even when a lot of us haven't seen them play for a very long time together. We're getting to see what they did against the Algerian. The Algerian side showed that yes, we still have what it takes to put the next chestnuts from fire. But it's just a friendly, and so we hope that they can do more. But let's move away from that and let's talk about the thrust of conversation today. And we're going to focus on the Ballon d'Or for a reason very obvious. I mean, reaction have thrilled what transpired yesterday, and a lot of people have been talking to. But first off, let's do a historical overview of the Ballon d'Or, established by France Football in 1956, and of course headed by the L'Equipe newspaper in France. A group of sports writers came together and they started what we now know today as the Ballon d'Or. And over the years, it has transcended, from one level to the other, even making it one of the most prestigious awards, given in world football. This award has recognized the best footballers of the previous seasons. Initially, only European players were eligible, but in 1995, it expanded to including non-European players in European clubs and became global in 2007 with coaches and national team captains voting. From 2010 to 2015, it was merged with FIFA World Player of the Year award and named the FIFA Ballon d'Or until the award separated again in 2016. In 2022, just 2 years ago, the criteria was adjusted to align with the football season, and voting was restricted to journalists from the top 100 FIFA-ranked countries. UEFA has co-organized the Ballon d'Or ceremony since this year, and Lionel Messi, of course, holds the record with 8 wins, followed by Cristiano Ronaldo with 5, while Rodri yesterday was named as the winner for the 2024 edition of the show. We'll go into all that in a jiffy, but first off, one of the African contender we saw yesterday, clearly Atlanta forward and Nigerian striker Ademola Lookman. He came 14th at the end of the rankings, and no doubt so what he was able to achieve. You can see him on your screen there yesterday, beautifully adorned in his black suit and white sleeve there, beautifully. He knew he would not win it, but the fact that he's preparing for what is to come, it was a glorious outing yesterday. At 27, he's on the list for the Ballon d'Or. Yes, a lot of people will say 14th, it is nothing, but when you are 14th best player in the world, where we have a lot of players, more than, I cannot estimate the number of players, and you are 14th on the world rankings via the Ballon d'Or, it shows that your effort, count for something, and that is very remarkable for the Atlanta forward.
Yes, of course. Among the myriads of players playing their trade across Europe, different leagues out there, you were able to, rank 14th in the Ballon d'Or award. I think for me, it's not a bad one. Clearly, it is no surprises for me, because you take a look at it's a record and achievement for last season for both club and country. You want to say, yeah, Lookman Ademola truly deserve to be, in the short list out there of those who were vying for the honor. Finishing 14th is not a bad one at all, especially considering the fact that he is the only African that was also, nominated for that position for this year. I think the last African that have ever won the Ballon d'Or. You talk about George Weah. Apart from George Weah, there is no other name. And Lookman Ademola's inclusion for last night's award clearly makes it 3 Nigerians that have also finished on such a high note as well. We have Kanu Nwankwo as well, and Victor Osimhen. So for me, I think it's a massive achievement for not just Lookman Ademola, but for Nigerian football and Africa as a whole, having their own, finishing 14th among the rest of the arrays of players across the world. So for me, I think it's something to actually be very happy about. Hoping that next season as well is going to even surpass this mark, because we've seen him, continue to improve on his performance so far. Take a look at what he's doing for Atlanta so far. This has been up there. And whenever it's not into the Atlanta team are there, definitely they struggle. The evidence is always very clear. And he's doing pretty well for the national team as well. So for me, I think, the best is yet to come from Ademola Lookman. We are very, very proud of his achievements so far.
The best is yet to come for Ademola Lookman, and of course, we await the big one when the continent of Africa will stage in December the African Player of the Year. But then, if you look at the rankings, a lot of reaction have traded one. I'm going to take it in peace so that you, the viewer, you understand the debate and the reactions, and you can also make your own decision on what you think plays out. Yesterday, Manchester City midfielder Rodri was named as the winner of this year's Ballon d'Or. He is now the first Premier League player in 16 years since Cristiano Ronaldo to win this prestigious prize. No doubt he has not been playing for a couple of months now, and he won't play till the end of the season because of the injury, ACL injury that scuttled his activities this season. At 28, he has won the Best Player award, and he was also part of the winning team for his Spanish side. He also won the Premier League with Manchester City, and of course, he also, had it all rosy in the quest for Champions League. Unfortunately, that eluded them. Remarkably, he went ahead with 74 games, and he also had, of course, defeats, no doubt. But when you look at his feat, you think that as a defensive midfielder, maybe not the best of a title that should have come to him. But the good thing is, regardless of all the indices placed, he is the winner of this year's Ballon d'Or. And Mike, if you look at the debate, before we go into the argument between him and Vinicius Junior, this is Rodri. This is his achievement, or these are his achievements. And finally, he has been picked as the winner of this year's Ballon d'Or. No surprises? Are you content with that? Because that's the right way. I will need to know your opinion on his emergence as the winner of this year's Ballon d'Or.
I think for me, if you go through the record in his last season achievement, he truly deserves to win the Ballon d'Or award. I mean, winning the English Premier League, a European Super Cup, and then the European Cup, which he won with Spain as well. And I think for me, he truly deserves to go home with this very one. And for Rodri, it's always very instrumental for both Manchester City team and for the Spanish team as well. Whenever he plays on the national team, the man, you can't take away his factors into Manchester City team. In fact, he played 74 games without losing any, as a player under Manchester City. Then 475 games in all, both club and country, without losing any. I think the last defeat that they tested was last season in the FA Cup against Manchester United. And one thing that clearly distinguished him among Vinicius Junior is about his leadership quality. It's about his character. He's calm and composed. Even when he's being fouled on the pitch out there, you rarely see him react. And of course, there are certain three basic criteria that come to play rather when you talk about the Ballon d'Or award. The fair play issue, you talk about your character, the achievement of your club as well, and all these things are some of the basic indices that was factored into the Ballon d'Or. I want to say here, Vinicius Junior did pretty well, winning the Champions League, the La Liga, individual award, Champions League player of the season and all of that, but then he didn't do pretty well for the Copa America. The Brazil didn't do well. Then again, you talk about his personal character. It's been a question of issues. He's always temperamental, which for me are some of the things I just think that actually, made Rodri to have the upper hand against Vinicius Junior. So for me, no doubt, Rodri truly deserves, to coast home that Ballon d'Or award for last season for all that he did for the Spain national team and for Manchester City. So for me, there's no doubt on whether he truly deserves it. A defensive midfielder playing such a key role that whenever he's not in a match, it's always a big problem for Manchester City and for Spanish national team. I mean, it's a clear indication that the man truly deserves to win this very one without any iota of biasness, for me, or sentiment. I truly think, despite the far cry from different quarters that Vinicius Junior deserving more than Rodri, but then if you clearly go through statistics, I tell you, there's no way you will just overlook Rodri, rather than giving him the Ballon d'Or award for me.
Other than giving him the Ballon d'Or award, clearly, I mean, a lot has been said, and the argument a lot of persons are putting in is you want to match the effort of Rodri. Like you said clearly, that from the criteria, one is the level of achievement, and then the character of players, and the fact that you are also, I mean, for club and country, what he did last year, individual achievement, accolades and all that. So if you plus or minus, you want to see that let's strike a national team, because Rodri, yes, they end up winning that Euro championship, but Rodri was also not very significant. The other person will argue that he wasn't that significant in the ensuring that the side won, but he was part of the team that won it, no doubt, as against a certain Vinicius Junior. But if if popularity is the ratings, over the years we have queried the issue of players, like the year when we saw Cristiano Ronaldo won in 2013, won the Ballon d'Or award as against Frank Ribery. I'm not sure. I'm sure you remember that. We saw how a certain Modric, won in 2018. Benzema. So sometimes you argue for Rodri that yes, some popular players have also emerged as winners of the Ballon d'Or, and so the argument as to the voting process was not right, and the popular player should also always win it based on indices. If this is retaliate, then shouldn't hold water, because over times we have seen players who have achieved less in the country, win the award. So why was that of Vinicius Junior, exempted in this case? And maybe the reason why the Real Madrid are saying that, what is the indices? What are the criteria for measuring the winner of the Ballon d'Or?
This is very clear. I told you there's three basic, criteria for winning the Ballon d'Or. One, you have to do it, your character, which is very, very key. It has to do with your team performance and contribution. It has to do also with your fair play, which also is molded around your what you do out there on the pitch of play as well, which for me, I think Rodri had a better composure of himself on the pitch of play compared to Vinicius Junior, that always want to retaliate whenever he's tackled, or even instructing ref as well, making some form of gesticulation to ref to issue a card against opponent that tackles him. So for me, he's been in the eyes of the storm, courtesy of coming up against some fans out there who truly do not like such a repugnant attitude from Vinicius Junior. And for me, it's very clear. It's not about the popularity basis. It's about statistics and indices. Clearly, you talked about the Rodri winning the Euro, not playing vital roles. I beg to differ from that opinion. Rodri was very key for Spain winning the Euro. In fact, up till the final where he got injured, he was still very, very instrumental. Whereas Vinicius Junior was nowhere to be found in the Copa America for Brazil, as they were knocked out very early in the competition. So, factoring all this into place, there is no way you can just overlook the contribution of Rodri off and on the pitch play out there, and also the goal contribution, the assist as well. So for me, I think it's no longer an issue of debate. But then, of course, you understand some sentiment out there that, of course, just like you talked about popularity basis, that so many people, due to the achievement of, maybe Vinicius Junior in the Champions League, winning the La Liga and all of that, maybe he's more deserving. But then the indices, and the criteria to which it is used as a measure for the winner clearly tells it all that Rodri was more of, a better or a deserved winner of that Ballon d'Or award.
All right, Rodri was not just the only player that received the award yesterday. We saw clearly how Aitana Bonmati also won the Women's Ballon d'Or for the second year in running, and we saw the award also was given to Carlo Ancelotti in absentia. Won the Johan Cruyff Award as the Men's Player of the Year, while former Chelsea boss,
Coach of the Year,
Coach of the Year, I beg your pardon, and Emma Hayes collected the women's version, having led USA to Olympic gold in the summer. And of course, we also saw Kylian Mbappe was given the Gerd Müller Trophy, but he was not there to receive it himself, and that was jointly received by Harry Kane, as Real Madrid delegation decided to stay back at home for reasons very obvious, which will also be talked about. Yamin Lamar was also awarded yesterday. He was given the best male player under the age of 21, and what a way to celebrate his feat. Barcelona women team won the best women team of the year for their for beating Lyon in last year's UEFA Champions League final, making it the third time they have won that particular one in 4 years. And then Emmy Martinez retained the Yashin Trophy as the world best goalkeeper in 2024. And so you talk about all these are some of the players and the coaches that also were, given the award. But then, Mili Likumborg is a sports commentator for Brazil, and he has expressed some worrying fact, which I dissect on the show today. He said, I want to quote what he said. He said, at the Ballon d'Or Award, okay, I missed the opportunity to pay a heartfelt tribute. That is referring to Ballon d'Or now. The most talked about player of the season, known for his dribbles, goals, ability to make decisive play and social activism, was not given. And this is referring to Vinicius Jr. After the post on the S platform. He went further to say that I'll do it 10 times if I have to. These are sentiment, and this post received more than 100,000 comments, with many Brazilians showing their support. Even Brazil Minister of Racial Equality, Anele Franco, also reacted to the message, saying that Vinicius is an amazing player, and racism will never stop us, and let's keep making history. So Brazil obviously paying their accolades and respect for the second best player according to those who voted in the Ballon d'Or Award. And then talking about the Ballon d'Or Award, an area that a lot of people overlook as to the emergence of Rodri is the fact that 100 journalists from 100 top countries in the world voted for this award. So when you look at the criteria, yes, it is evenly matched. You think that personal choices in the voting process also count. So subjectivity may have also overwhelmed objectivity in voting, which is normal at this point.
Yes, of course, because you can't actually, woo everybody to your side. People have their own perspective and a player that they like as well to cast their vote for. You can't take away that sentiment. But being very objective, or rather than being very subjective, is that most of the top journalists that voted in, some of the coaches, and team captain, they were very, very, objective in their votings and not tilted towards biasness or racism as, more of the card that the Brazilians or some person are trying to, paint the picture of racism, color variation, and all of that. So for me, I think it was very clear that objectivism actually outweighed that subjective nature of some people in terms of voting out there, and that actually made Rodri more of a deserved winner out there. But then we can't also rule away some politicking when it has to do with this, because we've seen it over the years that sometimes there are famous names that you should expect to win, but sometimes the pendulum will just swing in different angle. For example, in 2010, so many persons expected Schneider to win it, but all of a sudden, Lionel Messi won it. There were so many talks about Robert Lewandowski as well in 2020. That was the COVID era, down to 2021. These things are references that we can also point in the past and say, yeah, this is not the first time we are seeing a name that is looking likely to be the favorite as to be announced as the Ballon d'Or winner. But a twist of events will just happen, and then somebody else. And if you clearly take a look at some of those names that come, maybe you want to say through the back door, if you go through statistics clearly, you now discover and realize that truly they deserve to win it. Like in that 2010 we talked about, go back and watch the statistics of Lionel Messi over that of Schneider. I want to say, yeah, realistically speaking, he deserves it. So sometimes it's not all about emotion. It's not all about your preference for a player. It's about statistics, because football these days is about statistics as well, because you can't do away with that statistics. Now, another point of discourse that we want to, that also try to divide some person's opinion, is that Real Madrid was, named the best team in Europe. They won it. Carlo Ancelotti named the best coach, then you want to ask yourself, why? If the coach of Real Madrid is named the best coach, then the team itself, Madrid, is named the best team. Then, invariably, you want to agree that Vinicius Jr. truly deserves this very one. But then, contrary-wise, if you take a look at the statistics between him and Rodri, you want to say, yeah, you know, the organizers, they actually did a thorough job, a painstaking job before this one will come out. But like I will say, the debate rages on, and it will not end. It will continue to rage on. But what I'm not happy about is about you know, the racism coloration that they are trying to paint into the picture. Because I think for me, George Oponwe, who won some of these big trophies as the only African, was he a white man? Wasn't a white man, was a black. Ronaldinho as well. So let's just do away with that racism card and all of that, that coloration of saying because it's a black and this one is a white and that is why I won it. No, clearly Rodri, going through statistics, truly deserve to be accorded the Ballon d'Or winner for this year.
All right, like Mike said, I can tell you that each journalist selected 10 players from a list of 30, placing them in the order of 10th to 1st. Players in first receive 15 points, 12, 10, 8, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 point according to their preference. So if I love a player and I think he's the best, I give him 30, you know, or 15 points, and that could just be the pattern. So regardless of how subjective it is in terms of choice and preference, but then where 100 journalists speak for a particular trend, I mean, the voting reflect the choices of those individuals, and no doubt Rodri should be celebrated as the winner of this year's Ballon d'Or. And a lot of people have also reacted to the implication of avoiding an invitation, and from, I mean, a club like Real Madrid, if not for anything, I mean, having a central decision of not attending that award. What could this imply for them going forward?
I think for me, it simply means that they are not even respecting Spain football authority as well, because don't forget, in as much as they were trying to, you know, pay more of quality solidarity to their own, talking about Vinicius Jr., but it also rubbed off on Spanish football as well, because the man who won the award is also a Spanish player. So for me, I think it's not a good one, and it is not a good sportsmanship behavior, because next time as well, any of Madrid player could also be nominated or also voted as the Ballon d'Or winner in subsequent edition. What if other party did not turn up for that one? Will you be happy sitting there alone? Who is going to cheer you and clap for you and sing those songs of you know, great memories and all of that? Who is going to, you know, be by your side to actually congratulate you after the announcement? So for me, I think it's a very bad sportsmanship, and that is what we'll continue to preach in sport generally, not only in football. He must be able to exhibit the spirit of sportsmanship any day, anytime, whether for good or for bad. And also for me, I think it is a very wrong decision. But then again, it will also question the credibility of the Ballon d'Or organizers. Don't forget, they did this in affiliation with FIFA some time ago, before they were now delineated themselves and FIFA become a separate entity to organize their own, you know. These are some of the reactions that will continue to elicit over the years. And I tell you, for Madrid being one of the big, in fact, the biggest club in the whole world, you know, not being part and parcel of this year's Ballon d'Or, it has clearly taken some respect away from the Ballon d'Or organizers, because as it is right now, Madrid have large followership across the globe. And their actions and inaction is going to rub off on every of their supporters out there, that they may want to become more cold in terms of taking part or eulogizing the actions or the effort of the Ballon d'Or organizers. Courtesy of this, you know, incident, that there are so many people that are affiliated or a staunch supporter of Real Madrid that will never believe that the process of the Ballon d'Or is credible any longer. and that has taken something away from the organizers.
But does it matter to the football world?
Of course it does, because some of the teeming fans of Madrid across the globe, are they not part of the football fraternity?
No, but it does, I mean, it's not a sentiment that will fade away in the coming days. It does not affect the credibility of the process.
It will. It will affect the credibility of the process, because they have brought.
No, but this year now it has come and gone.
It has come and
so
gone.
It doesn't.
Yeah, but for next edition and subsequent edition to come.
And probably a lot of people would think that regardless of the process, whether they are part of it, whether they're not part of it, yes, you cannot take away Madrid if they are good. Okay, but where they do not do well next season, this season now for next year, and they are not in the mix, it does not rub off the marketing, the policy trends, and the philosophy of Ballon d'Or.
It will. It will.
How?
Madrid itself is a big entity.
So is L'Equipe the owners of the Ballon d'Or.
If Madrid delegate had showed up in this very one, I tell you, it would have been very massive, because
that's what we're saying.
A lot of followership from Madrid.
I agree with you. I agree. They had
marketing-wise.
They have the highest. But whereas we are saying yes, because they have like 3 awards. Okay, maybe that would have also boosted, no doubt. But I'm saying that for them, they now know that okay, any club can be angry. So let's plan ourselves in such a way that regardless of whatever happens in future awards, we will always have our sponsors enter to them. That should matter too much to them, and not necessarily about whether any club is angry about the process.
Of course, they know what to do, and of course, Madrid is a very big club. They always know how to think outside the box, and that is why they are called Galacticos, because they assemble the best of heads, the best of legs, the best of ideas. So that wouldn't be a problem. They know how to navigate their way through success.
All right, to go on a short break now. When we come back, we'll talk more about what is happening in Old Trafford, and of course, many more games to expect tonight in the various leagues. Don't go anywhere.
The people of Maiduguri need your help. A catastrophic flood has engulfed the city, leaving over 1 million residents stranded and fighting for survival. Entire communities are submerged, with people trapped inside homes and on rooftops cut off from food, clean drinking water and essential supplies. Health experts are warning of a potential outbreak of deadly diseases, and medical facilities are out of commission. The situation is dire. Helicopters, boats and high-riding trucks capable of navigating the treacherous, waterlogged areas are urgently required to reach the countless men, women and children still awaiting rescue. The Nigerian media is issuing a desperate plea to the government, humanitarian organizations, international actors and citizens across the nation. Step in now, before it's too late. For more information on how you can help, contact Professor Usman A. Tar, the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Internal Security, Borno State, on 0809-233-3955. Every second counts.
This is powered by Atlantic Television Network.
back from that break. We're coasting home now, and of course, let's talk about what is happening in the Manchester United setup because United are in advanced talk with the Sporting head coach Ruben Amorim, and could be in charge for Sunday's Premier League if the deal is struck. Now, Amorim was part of a club shortlist, but it looks like he has a release clause of 8.3 euros, million euros for him to be the coach of Manchester United. So for United, if they must get him, they have to pay 10 million euros, equivalent to 8.3 million pounds. Okay, that's for compensation. He has different release clauses in contract for different clubs. So if he leaves for a Portuguese club, he will cost 30 million euros. But if he leaves for a club overseas like England, like Old Trafford, it will cost him 20 million, that's 16.6 million pounds. And so these are what is at stake as it stands now. Manchester United look like that killer club that might just get his signature. But then can Manchester United cover this amount of money now to pay and ensure that they get this particular man as a manager?
Of course, Manchester United, they have the money to cover and get Ruben Amorim, the Sporting Lisbon coach. But then it's not about coughing out the money. It's about the fact that they need a coach that will come with something different, and not what we've seen right from the era where Sir Alex Ferguson left since 2013. 11 years down the line since Sir Alex Ferguson left the Old Trafford, and Manchester United have, hired a total number of 9 coaches in 11 years, whether on interim basis or permanent basis. 9 good coaches in 11 years of Sir Alex Ferguson leaving the touchline at Old Trafford out there. The big question should be not even whether Manchester United has 10 million euros. And of course, they do have it because you take a look at what the new 25% owner is doing, talking about Jim Ratcliffe. He clearly tells you that he's a businessman. He wants to put his money where his mouth is, and he wants to put his money where he can be able to maximize profit, and that is why he's blocking every loophole that tend to be wasting United money in an unwanted manner. That is why Sir Alex Ferguson has been relieved for his ambassadorial role, and then here there have been a trim down of Manchester United staffs out there. So it's not about whether Manchester United has 10 million euros to cover out and get Ruben Amorim. It's about the fact that is Ruben Amorim the right coach that is coming to change the narrative at Old Trafford? Because there are plethora of names that have come on board. We talk about the likes of Javi Hernandez, Julian Nagelsmann. We talk about Thomas Frank. We talk about Tadic, former Dortmund coach. We talk about Gary Southgate, Harry Potter. These are names that have rolled out in the last 48 hours as possible replacement for Erik ten Hag. I think for me, Manchester United have the money to get Ruben Amorim, but then the big question should be, is it not good that take out time, allow Van Nistelrooy to maybe oversee some games, maybe give him 3 months and see if he can be able to stabilize the ship or steady the ship at Manchester United. If he doesn't, maybe from now till 3 months, you've been able to settle down and look for a coach that have the required or requisite skills, that can be able to take Manchester United to the next level, so that they don't rush in getting Ruben Amorim and it comes out to be another wasted effort and also wasted venture, wasted money as well, because if he doesn't perform, they are going to let him go and they are going to pay him another severance fee, just like the way they will do to Erik ten Hag.
Okay, and of course we get to see how far that goes, but in the coming days more development. Let's hope that Manchester United can see this deal before the weekend. And let's move now to some of the games we expect. In the EFL Cup round 4 tonight will be Southampton will take on Stoke City in the next 45 minutes. That game should come alive. Brentford will host Sheffield Wednesday at the Brentford Community Stadium. In the Serie A, Cagliari will take on Bologna. Lecce, that was Verona, and AC Milan will take on Napoli. This promises to be a clash of the Titans, and of course is a must watch for us. Sports Extraordinaire goes to Rodri for winning this year's Ballon d'Or. Many thanks, Mike, for being part of the conversation this evening.
Always a pleasure.
All right, we'll be back again tomorrow and to take you through happenings and more development as well as more reaction for the Ballon d'Or and other players. My name is Ekpo Temple. Do have a pleasant evening. Start of Trouble is one game, football without violence. Bye-bye.